Hi, you beautiful, gorgeous human beings. Welcome to episode 1 of Lucas's podcast. I don't like calling it that. I want to do this thing in the new year where I start talking about the things that are going through my mind because I feel like I have a lot of things that go through my mind on a daily process, but I am an introvert and I'm very lonely, and so a lot of it just goes unspoken and unheard. And if I've realized anything from the conversation that I start from my TikTok to my Instagram to just my social media platforms in general, I have learned that it's good to start these conversations. And if I want to do anything good with my platform, it's to talk about things that aren't necessarily talked about or aren't necessarily talked about in a good way. So, welcome to episode 1 of Lucas. I don't know, being mentally ill. I'm kind of nervous to do this because I feel like I talk so smoothly in my brain, and then any time that I try and vocalize it, it doesn't go as well as I want. Also, I want to note, I don't even care if I look bad in this video. I understand that I have like a 2 o'clock shadow coming in. I don't really care, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and lay it all out in plain. My teeth, they're crooked, okay? I got very depressed a few years ago after my braces, and I stopped wearing my retainers, and it is actually one of my biggest insecurities, and not a lot of people mention it, but in the back of my head, I'm always thinking about it, and it's something that I want to like confront, because eventually I'm gonna get Invisalign or braces again, and I'm gonna fix it. But unfortunately, it is just a reminder of everything that I went through in that year that I stopped wearing it. So that is my confession to you. I don't know why I said that. Okay, so I have outlined this podcast or this episode, whatever you want to call it, to be pretty organized, a way that I can communicate to you all the thoughts in my head. And so I tried to organize it in a way that was good. While I was at the gym, I put together sort of a list of things that I want to talk about, a couple topics that I want to talk about, and then, yeah, so hold on. I have to do like the intro. Okay. I have to do like a couple poses because I'm going to edit in an intro. Okay. Welcome to podcast number 1. How did I do? Did we do good? Okay. In the past few days, my hair has been like super flat. I don't know if it's because of the cold weather. I have been washing it more regularly, so I think that that might be a result of like washing it every day. But I don't know. I don't think it looks good. I feel like I look like a bad Mona Lisa. Speaking of, okay, I made a video the other day. I think that Leonardo da Vinci would have absolutely loved me. Are you kidding me? Would have absolutely loved me. Everybody knows that Leonardo da Vinci was a little fruit, okay? And he spent his time in the fruit basket, let's be honest with us, okay? I understand that my life would have been horrible in that time frame. Not only would I have been exceedingly poor, I probably would have to prostitute myself in order to make a living. However, people would fawn over me, and the art that would be created as a result of Leonardo da Vinci painting me would look incredible. Nobody could stop me. I would be the Mona Lisa. I think about that a lot. If I was like born in a different era, like how I would have affected like culture, because I'm so important and beautiful and like an angel at, at like the very least, I'm like at that level. Anyway, okay. Moving on. Okay, so for the first part of these podcasts, I want to start by saying a little intro by putting in like a song that has been my anthem for the week. For people who don't know, my favorite song is My Mind by Yeba. Yeba is an incredible, incredible artist, performer, writer, musician. Her voice is so unique, and she does not get enough fame. Like, she doesn't get the credit that she really does deserve, but she is literally so good. You don't even understand. Like, she is literally so good. So please take your time, go listen to Yeba. She's literally so good. Get me on her radar because I would lose my mind if she came to me. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway. But that is actually not the anthem of the week. So the anthem of the week is Difference by Jakob Dye. He released this song, well, he posted a video on TikTok about his like background story and where he came from and how he grew up and decided to pursue music. And it's a really, really beautiful story. It's his name is spelled Yakabdye. And his story is really, really pretty, but also his music, he literally writes music like he is this super famous musician. Like his music does not sound like it was recorded in his bedroom or like a basement studio. Like it literally sounds so professional and so good. And the song Difference is actually really good. And I listen to it literally every day that I go to the gym and I'm feeling a little bit down on myself. I listen to that. And it's a really, really good song. Another song that's actually really good now that we're mentioning it, Jacob Collier's When You're Weary. What is that song? Feeling Small. I literally sing it every day. What is that song? Bridge Over Troubled Water with John Legend, Yeba, and Tori Kelly. Literally so beautiful. Jacob Collier is this musician that never fails to amaze me. If you came from the music world, specifically like the classical music world, you know that the way that he builds his music specifically communicates the story. And a lot of people don't give him that credit. A lot of people say that he stacks too much on top of too much and it sounds too jumbled and there's too much going on. But quite genuinely, like he tells his story through his music. If you were to listen to his music without the words to the songs, you would be able to tell the emotion of the song, you'd be able to tell the story of the song. And that's how it was, right? When like operas were a really big thing and everybody went to opera. Everybody went to operas. And this was like a millennia ago, but everybody did. And the really, really cool thing is that everybody was classically trained who was able to get into the opera houses, and they would be able to know the story of the show, know the emotion of the show, know how the show was going to end based on how the music was written and how the chords progressed, which is like mind-boggling to me. We don't do that anymore. We have lost our plot with music. There is so much good music out, and honestly, 2024 was a really good year for music. However, it is literally like people don't understand how deeply impactful music can actually be. And if you just learn about music, you can like really, really tell the impact and like read the story and read the emotions. Anyway, okay, that's enough of me nerding out. A highlight of the week. So I opened a PO box probably like a month ago. And I was a little overconfident. I opened up like a larger box because I was like, I'm so famous, I'm gonna get all of the mail in the world. I got 3 letters, which I'm so grateful to everyone. The only person who left their name was Stevie, so I want to say thank you to Stevie. But whenever I went to open the P.O. box, I did a horrible job at it. You have to bring a 2-factor identification to open a P.O. box. Like, what are we doing living in 1970? I brought it, and I got there, and the UPS lady, she's so sweet, but she was so closed off, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm in the South, this white, older USPS lady, and I am this lady boy walking into this being like, I want to open up a P.O. box, and I have no idea how to do it. And so she was like super closed off to me, and obviously I was doing it wrong, so she probably deals with that a lot. And I was like standing back, kind of scared, kind of quiet, and she like scooted me up. She was like, come here. And I was like, oh, like what? And she was like, I know I seem a little like introverted and closed off, but I just want to let you know you are welcome here. You have just enough space. You take up enough space, and I love you for it. And she was like, I know that I can seem introverted, but I promise you I love everybody. And I want to make sure that you know that you are welcome. And I literally like, I was humbled because I was like, oh my goodness, like I preach about not judging people based off of first interactions or first appearances. And I literally did that, and then the universe came and humbled me for it. Speaking of how the universe came and humbled me for it, she then studied numerology in school or something, and she gave me a whole numerology reading on my name. I have a lot of 3s in my name, I have a lot of 1s in my name. I think the only numbers that I don't have in my name are 2 and 8. And I think 2, hold on, I actually have it written down because she impacted me. She literally gave me a reading on this USPS Post-it. So I have a lot of 3s, I have a lot of 1. Okay, yeah, I'm missing 2, which is cooperation, which is so interesting because being like this in the South, I have learned how to operate alone because a lot of people just don't understand me and they don't want to put the effort into understanding me. So like generally, like that was more realized in my later life, but even growing up, like I did not cooperate with people easy. I am a raging introvert, and like I said, all of these thoughts are jumbled up in my brain and I needed a space where I could talk about them, but I was never able to communicate them successfully to other people. So it's interesting that cooperation is something that I don't have listed in my name. And then 8, which is scary to me, is money, prosperity, and confidence. Like more so confidence and like power and money is something that I don't have, and which is very true. I am good at money, but I have always learned how to be like, I don't know, like I've always learned, I have so much money anxiety that at one point I was paying like, I think I was paying like $1,500 in rent on $11 an hour. It was crazy. They were underpaying me so much, but somehow I made it happen. And I think that it's not necessarily that I'm bad with money, but I don't use money to my benefit, if that sounds like bad at all. Like money is a horrible concept, but we have to live with it. We have to live within some of the rules of society, most of the rules of society. And if I'm gonna have to have money in order to live a life, I'm gonna enjoy my life. But unfortunately, because we live in this world where it's like the bottom 99%, I unfortunately am not even near the top like 70%. Okay, my income is not good. It was not good at $11 an hour. And I have really bad money anxiety, so that has led me to be super, super organized, which is something that I do have a lot of. The confidence and the power, I think, stem from like the same thing. Like I often judge people a lot, and I think that a lot of people look at me as something that they cannot understand, and that affects me in a way. Like I preach all the time how I don't care what people think, but like every day of my life I'm walking around and I'm like, everybody thinks that I am this or this or that, and it affects my confidence big time. So that is a highlight of the week. She really like opened up my mind, and she taught me that, again, not to judge people based on their appearances, and that's exactly what I did to the older white lady in the USPS. I mean, come on, we're in the South. It's an older white lady in a publicly funded workplace. What do you mean? Anyway, okay, so we need to talk about something for a second. I think that it is okay to focus on the negative things. I think that it is beneficial to focus on positive things in your life, and it's really good for you. However, it is detrimental to only talk about the good things when there is so much bad going on, especially when the bad is directly affecting you. And I'm going to talk about this for a little bit, and then we're going to go on with our normal organized show episode. Oh my gosh, I'm so famous. Anyway, okay. What I have thought about this all morning at the gym, and it really affected the way that I was able to work out. But like, and I went over this in the car of how I was going to talk about this in front of a camera, and I genuinely like, what happened to the human race that we decided that people who have elevated above this binary gender expression that we have ruled is a requirement in society, which we all know it isn't. Girls dress up in boy clothes all the time. I have girlfriends who dress up and strictly shop in the boys section of Goodwill and thrift stores. And that doesn't even, like, that's literally the tip of the iceberg, the very tip of the iceberg. Like, why at some point did we decide that we were going to start pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into convincing people that almost 2 million people in the US were predators and fakers and trying to get into restrooms and to assault women? Like, what happened that we have decided that that is our main focus? And more so than just that, right? I talk about LGBT issues all of the time. But on top of that, when did we decide that donating billions of dollars to countries or political movements that are killing tens of thousands of women and children. And regardless of what political side you're on, what belief you have culturally, religiously, morally, when did we decide that that was okay? Whether or not you agree with their way of life or their religion or their rules, whether or not their women have more or less rights, when did we decide that that was worthy of killing tens of thousands of people? And I don't even know if I can talk about this on YouTube, but I'm doing it because unfortunately it's something that is so prevalent in our lives. And I'm just like, almost, obviously I'm not speechless, but like I am jaw dropped or like starstruck at the fact that like, when did we decide that life was supposed to be like this, where we were fighting each other and so divided, even all the way down to just the United States? When did we decide that we were so divided and either you were in support for this radical side or this radical side, when in reality, the majority of people just want to be able to afford to go to school and to buy food and to be able to go to the doctor to look at your sick throat without having to drop $200 in a copay because you can't afford to pay a better premium. That very premium that sometimes is approved or not, and then at the end of the year, if you don't use the premium one single time, all that money goes to the insurance company. When did we decide that that was a thing? Okay, and then I think about it, right? When did we decide? But the truth is, in all of human history, you think about how long it took for humans to decide that blatant open slavery was a bad thing. How long has it been? Okay, the US is 250 years old, and for half of that, we had slaves. How long did it take for all of human history to decide, you know what, slavery is a bad thing, we're not going to do it? Openly. I won't even talk about the prison industrial complex. Openly. When did we decide that humans were any human was above being treated like cattle or like farm animals? And if you take that and divide and compare it to all of human history, we have only not had slaves for like 0.0005% of our entire human history. So then I think about it and I'm like, okay, it's not that far off, right? Culture is changing. Change is inevitably slow. But we as humans have failed so much, and it breaks my heart. And no wonder our generation is the leading in number one for suicide deaths and depression and mental health issues. Like, no wonder, right? For the first time in our lives, in human history, we are able to share things and watch things on a piece of technology that is worldwide. We're able to post things worldwide in a matter of seconds. The entire information, or the entire world's information, is literally at our fingertips. And that's a good thing, but it's also a terrible thing because like, we teach US history like it was this big, bad, beautiful thing, that we gained independence and we fought for these things, when 90% of the people who founded our country were treating people like they were absolute animals, less than animals. Some of these animals were treated better. And I think about it and I'm like, are we going to have enough time in our human life? I don't think we're going to see it in our lifetime. That's so sad to say, but it's so truthful. I don't think we're going to see true change where everybody is treated equally in our lifetime. In certain spaces, right, in open, safe spaces, I go to the club all the time. I go to the drag club all the time because that is a space where I can feel like, in this expression that I talk about a lot, that people don't look at me like, are you this, are you that? They just look at me and they buy me a drink sometimes because I'm hot. But like, genuinely, like, there are spaces that you can find that are safe, that are the future. But in our lifetime, I don't think that we will see a worldwide, or at the very least a countrywide thing, where we treat everyone genuinely as equals. It's so true that it's not, and it's so unfortunate that half of our country, over 70 million people, have been convinced that we're all equal and we can vote for a president You know what? I'm not even going to get into it because I could talk about it forever. I talked about it for longer than I needed to. And it really upsets me. It really does, because at the end of the day, we were meant to experience life. We were meant to live life. Like, we were meant to love and to cherish and to respect the earth that we were born on. Have any of y'all watched James Cameron's Blue People Avatar on Pandora, the Na'vi? We think that so many people think that they watch this movie and it's just a good movie franchise. No, this is Earth. This is, the first movie is Earth. What do you think? And the concept of the Na'vi and the Avatar and Pandora is so incredibly relevant in our lives, because we are I say we like I am a billionaire. There are people in power that are openly and proudly destroying the very land that is keeping us alive, because they want power and they want the world to be mended to their thoughts and the way that they think and the way that they want things to be done. But we were meant for so much more than that. Like, the concept of money upsets me, because we were made for so much more than paying rent and buying groceries. And half of the groceries, 90% of the groceries that we buy, having things in it that in 20 years is going to kill us. We were made for so much more than to fight over whether or not gay people are allowed to be married, and whether or not women have a right to their own temples. Like, what are we doing that is so wrong that we have people in power that think that they are allowed to do this? I don't know. It upsets me, and I try not to think about it that much, but it's the truth, and it's something that can't be avoided, and it's something that has to be talked about, and it's something that has to be protested about. And while I'm on the topic of protesting, I know I'm talking about this for so long, but while we're on the topic of protesting and this concept of we have to peacefully protest to change the things. Since when did peaceful protesting get anything done? And I'm going to try and talk around this, because I don't want this video to be taken down. I don't want this to be a space where I only talk about negativity. But we peacefully protested for a long time, okay? Gay people from the 1900s all the way up until now peacefully protested. And you know what that got us? In the 40s, during the translation of the most recent and most widely spread Bible, in the 1940s, when gay protests were at their highest, a translation of the Bible was led to teach people that if a man lies with a man, like he lied with a woman, surely he should be put to death. Coincidentally, when the rise of gay protests was happening, this mistranslation occurred during the rise of women's suffrage movements and Black Lives Matter movements. Like, no wonder. Think about it. Are you kidding me? And in that same, okay, I need to stop talking about it, but like, think about the only times that we have ever seen change occur. Like, truthfully, think about it. Did we see change occur when we were all holding up picket signs and yelling from the side of the road, or did we see change occur when riots were occurring? And then the top people decided, we're going to shine those people as criminals who like to destroy America. When in reality, they were only reciprocating how they've been treated their entire lives and for generations before that. They said, okay, peaceful protest isn't going to work. Okay, we're going to perform our protests in a theatrical way in which that is a representation of how you have treated us. Which a good representation is through riots. Let's be honest with ourselves. Since when was the last time that holding up a picket sign with a mask on and saying, we love people, peaceful, peaceful, peaceful? No. Come on. Sorry. I know that that's old news, but it's not. It's still very relevant. These things did not change. And anyway, we need to move on before the only thing that I'm surviving on today is an Alani, an energy drink, nicotine, in this coffee that I've just made with instant espresso, and I put 3 shots of espresso in it. and there's sugar in it and almond milk, so seed oils. I'm actively giving myself a heart murmur, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay. Okay, sure. Have I had 1,000 milligrams of caffeine and it's not even noon? Maybe I have. But guess what? It's better than doing hard drugs. It's better, okay, than going out and telling people, convincing people that you're an abomination. Okay? Okay. That's, anyway. Okay, so we need to talk about this. Okay, I have had this in my mind for a really long time. Honestly, I'm sorry. I got a little off topic, and I don't even know if this is a good thing or a good podcast or whatever it is. And I apologize. I'm deeply apologetic if it is bad. I'm sorry. I don't really care. I'm a yapper, and I'm gonna yap to the camera whether anybody listens or not. But I wanted to use this time to reflect on the conversation that I started online. I know I already mentioned it, but the conversation that I started online a year ago when I posted that first video of me being misgendered at work, and I was ranting about it. And I'm not going to go into like what happened in the story time. Y'all can go see it if you want. It's on TikTok in the description below. I'm a YouTuber, guys. It's so cool. But the conversation that I start about gender bending people, right? Whether that be gender non-conforming people, non-binary people, trans people, gender non-conforming presenting people, like whatever it is, right? The conversation that I started is that expression does not define identity, and identity does not define character. And I think that it's really important that we start to shift our focus on judging people on their character. I know that there is a whole movement, and it's been like this forever, right? To never judge people. But let's be honest with ourselves. We judge people. I do it every day. Maybe I'm a hater. I get it. Everybody judges people. From the moment that they lay eyes on somebody, you are judging somebody. Whether you say, I like your outfit, or I don't like your outfit, or you like a video on TikTok versus not liking that video on TikTok, you are judging people every single day. And a bad thing about social media is we only get to see seconds of people's lives, moments of people's lives. And what that has turned into is this obsession over figuring out exactly who this person is based on a 15-second clip or a minute-long clip or a 30-minute YouTube video. Like, social media is a great thing in many ways, but that is one of the very negative things, is that we have exacerbated our judgment to a whole new level of trying to judge people and get people's character, understand them based off a 15-second video. And that's made us shallow. We were already shallow to begin with, right? Instagram and Snapchat and social media in general did not help us with how shallow we were. But now this whole thing with TikTok and Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube, like, we try to understand people's character based off of these small little snippets. And I think it's important that YouTubers like me, shut up, I know, subscribe to me, and YouTubers like Brittany Broski, okay, like Larry, or Larray, like all of these people who truthfully show their like true character online and don't care about what people think, like Bretman Rock whenever he was doing YouTube. I don't even know if he's still doing YouTube anymore. He blocked me on TikTok, by the way, a long time ago. And I've always wondered why he blocked me, because we're both Filipino baddies. We both have long hair. We're both beautiful. And I always wonder why he blocked me. He didn't block me on any other platform, but he did block me on TikTok around the time I was talking about being misgendered, which is interesting. And like I said, I've always wondered, because I did like watching his TikToks. But anyway, back on track. Like I said, we need to shift our focus onto judging people based on their character. And this is most useful in face-to-face, in-person, experiences, because it's hard to do that when you're online. When you're online, you try and show off the best parts of yourself, I feel like I do a pretty good job at representing myself thoroughly and fluidly as real as possible. But to an extent, I still try and look my best online. I don't post videos, when I like first wake up. The first YouTube video the day in the life vlog that I just posted is the first time that I have ever shown myself online with facial hair in the morning before I get all ready and all beautiful. Because I know my baddie, shut up. You don't even have to tell me. I get it. I know I look myself in the mirror every day and I say, damn, yeah, if there's a God, she made me beautiful and I love her for it because look at this. Look at it. I know. I see myself in that camera. Hi. I look good. I know I do. Y'all can't tell me shit. I look good, okay? Anyway, I don't even know what I was talking about. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, being nice and humble. Um, anyway, so I think that we should shift our focus more into getting to know people more, whether or not you're educated on them or not. A big disconnect that is occurring right now is we see different people. And I'm just going to use myself as an example because I have an ego, but also I have a good experience, right? I live in a very southern conservative town and I am like a man who dresses like this because he doesn't care. I don't care. I don't care. This makes me happy. This makes me feel good. This is who I am, and I'm not going to change that to form some sort of acceptance from anybody. However, that leads to a lot of experiences of very uneducated people making serious judgments on me and refusing to get to know me as a result of the way I talk or my appearance or my lifestyle, the people I love, whatever it is, right? And even if you are uneducated, which I feel like a lot of people who are uneducated don't watch my videos, and like anybody's actually going to watch this podcast, but if you grew up in a place where LGBT individuals were not talked about, or you grew up in a place where 99% of the people that live in your area are white, you are uneducated. And it is your responsibility to educate yourself and to break down the barriers that have been built up around you. If you grew up in a predominantly white, anti-LGBT area and you are accepting but extremely uneducated, or maybe you're not accepting, but it's specifically because you just don't understand why these people are dressing up in this way and why does this person get to decide that they are not this gender anymore. And you don't understand any of that because you grew up in a place, like me, where none of that was talked about. And where actively, nowadays, they are trying to remove this concept from school and burn books and libraries because people just want to be more accepting. Anyway, if you live in this uneducated bubble and people like me or trans people or non-binary people or just LGBT individuals or people of color in general, people who look different than what is predominantly around you, if those people pop your little bubble and make you uncomfortable, I need you to understand that that is not a judge of their character, that is a judgment of their existence. They pop bubbles. I daily pop bubbles of uneducated people simply by waking up in the morning and going to the gym. Just like any other man out there who prioritizes their fitness, I wake up in the morning and I go to the gym. And in doing that, constantly, daily, actually, just today, a man walked into the men's locker room, saw me, and verbally, outspokenly was like, this is the men's restroom. This is the men's locker room. And you know what I did? I said, yeah, I know. You want to say, no, I didn't do that. But I did exclaim my gender, and I let him know, and hopefully that was a teaching moment for him. I don't think it was because he was utterly mortified. But every single day, simply by existing, right? I wear very tight, very form-fitting clothing to the gym because I know what people think of me when I walk into the gym. And I was doing that, okay? and specifically to protect myself. And I know the world that we live in, especially I know the community that I live in. And even in doing all of that, to exclaim my gender or form this sort of acceptance or have a safety belt around me, whatever it is, those things still happen to me. And simply by existing, we pop bubbles. And I left the gym. I'm not going to pretend like it didn't bother me. I left the gym and genuinely my first thought was like, damn, like I wish sometimes that I looked more like a man. I wish sometimes that I fulfilled these expectations a little bit more, because genuinely it would make my life so much easier to be just like that other man. And I know that comparison is the thief of joy, and I don't compare. I try not to. We all do, but I try not to. But I left that gym and I just was like, I wonder what it would be like to just fit in. Like, genuinely, I wonder what it would be like to not protest boundaries every time I walk out of the door. And I think that in protesting these boundaries, I am not, making a huge change, but I am, adding to the effect that on the future of eventually, hopefully, people will be able to look at a person and not judge them based off their gender or color or sexuality, but they'll judge them off of the way that they treat other people and the way that they talk to other people. And, anyway, I just think about it all the time, what life would be like if I was just not different. It would be boring, and I'm so happy that I am a unique person, but being unique does not come without pain, and being unique does not come without loneliness and solitude. And that is something that I don't talk about a lot because it is a pretty raw nerve inside of me. I feel lonely a lot of the time, and I have to be happy with my solitude because I'm forced into it being a unique person. And I'm not going to front. I'm not going to pretend like I am the most marginalized person and I am the worstly treated person in the world. No, I don't have that mindset. I understand where my privilege lies, and I understand how lucky, how good I have it. Okay, I am very, very understanding of it. But what looking like this and growing up like this has done is given me a little snippet into a world that I will never understand, but I can do all I can to educate myself about it and create spaces where everybody is welcome. I will never be able to understand or feel the same way as certain marginalized communities, but if it has done anything for me, if having long hair and expressing myself effeminately has done anything for me, it has taught me that there are people who genuinely simply exist, are born into this world already being judged, who are born into this world already 100 steps behind the white man. Like, and it's so obvious, it's so true. And I don't know if it's like, if you have to have experiences in this world to understand that, that those things, those spaces in which people are genuinely treated as less than humans. I don't know if like it's people like me who have, not people like me, but like people within this community, or just, I don't know, good fucking people with heads on their shoulders who say, yeah, this shit actually exists. And we recognize that it exists, and we try and create spaces and change organizations and institutions to treat people like people. Everybody is an even playing field. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take probably longer than our lives. But I don't know. I don't even know what I was talking about. All I am here to say is, for the 4 people who actually watch my videos on YouTube, if I can tell you all anything, if what I want to do with this platform, if I can change one person's way of thinking, or if I can let some person who feels so alone in their family or their life situation, if I can make them feel a little bit less alone, or if I can change a mother or father's thinking of how they should either be raising their child or treating their child who is showing characteristics of being a part of the LGBT community, if I can just teach them that it is not a detrimental thing to exist outside of the bounds of what we are expected to be, that does not immediately mean that you are a bad person or an abomination or a horrible human. If I could teach even one person that, then that is all I ever need to do. And somebody's here. Anyway, that's all I could ever do with my platform. If I could just do that thing, and know that I did it, feel accomplished in the fact that I changed somebody's way of thinking or somebody's perspective on how to treat other human beings. I think that is literally all the success that I need in life. If I stop posting content and go right back to working at Starbucks for the rest of my life, because I worked at Starbucks for 4 years, it was horrible. If I go back and I never post another piece of content again, but knowing that I made sure that a parent treated their child with true dignity and respect, and that's all that I ever need. That's all that I need to do, and that's all that I will know has done good things. So, come here, Corey. Y'all want to see my pets? Come here, bub. This is Coriolanus Snow. He's named after my man crush, President Coriolanus Snow. Okay. What is the timestamp on this? Oh, we've been talking for 40 minutes! Okay. That is what I want to leave you with today. If I could leave you with a single thought, it would be, what can you do to improve the way that you treat other people? Not in I'm gonna go and tell the barista that I like their makeup today, or I'm gonna tip somebody, 30% instead of 18% this time around. Not in those simple ways, but how can you truly listen to somebody and change the way that you react to things and treat people, and try and learn how to look at people with a blank slate instead of looking at people and saying, okay, well, their hair is this way and their clothes are that way. Their skin color is this way, so I'm looking at it like this. And you may think that you don't do that, but I promise you that you do. But if you can educate yourself or learn or at least attempt to look at people with a blank slate, that is what I want to leave with you today. Whether that be your child or your parent or another just human being, another employee, a customer service person, anybody. If you could do that with just one person, great. I'm going to leave you with that. I love you all. Please comment down below either topics you want me to talk about. If you liked this setup, I feel like I just rambled on. I don't know if it made any sense at all, and I am deeply apologetic if it didn't. But you know what? Like I said, I'm a yapper. I'm over-caffeinated, okay? Heavily over-caffeinated. Do you see this? This is 150 milligrams of caffeine. And I've already had like 400 other milligrams of caffeine. I'm over-caffeinated. You don't even want to know the things that I could talk about for hours on end when I have a coffee in my hand and another guy in the room. You don't even want to know, okay? The shit that could be talked, the things that could happen. You give me caffeine and another gay and like a straight girl, baby, we could take over the world. Yes, we could. I'm going to post this after it, but episode 2 of season 17 of RuPaul's Drag Race is coming out. Lexi Love is my queen. I love her to death. I just want to let y'all know that I watched her before she got on RuPaul's Drag Race. So that's all I need to know. She is beautiful. Her lips are gorgeous. All of her outfits are gorgeous. Talk about roller skating. Are you kidding me? In drag, in a course hat? Yeah, y'all deep. Stop it right now. Anyway, as always, cause a commotion, do your research, cite your sources. I love you all. Get your shit together. And be feminine today.